Mr. Pinkston, would you want to, briefly explain redlining and its impact on generational wealth for the Black community, and then also gerrymandering?
It was one that aided the other, being redlining that helped gerrymandering. So what redlining is, it's communities, obviously racially segregated, but they were also separated by class. So you would have blue and green districts. Those would be business people, you know, top dollar business people. Obviously, not us in the early 1900s. Yellow districts, white collar jobs, uh, just a just one step down the totem pole. Still on the large scale, not us. Then you would get to the red district, and this is where you would have foreign born people, your immigrants and black people, and believe it or not, your low class white people. Because one thing that helps the socioeconomic status or system in America stay alive is not only the separation of race, but the separation of class. So what happened was with redlining, legislators would redraw their voting districts. They would cut the red district out and like draw in a blue, green, or yellow district. And what this did was it helped them receive more government funding. So now you could visually see how we were being separated. White neighborhoods look better by leaps and bounds. And this helped them because the higher your property taxes were for your homes, the more money you got in the schools and healthcare. The more money you got in schools and healthcare, higher your property taxes were. And it just kept going round and round. On the other hand, in these red districts, the lower your property taxes, the less money you received in education and healthcare. The less money you receive there, the lower your property taxes. And that goes full circle. So I'll just stay here in the red zones. Less money for education, less money for resources. Though you have your own school, you're not receiving the same caliber of an education as white people on the other end of the highway or on the other side of the train tracks. Though you have your own hospitals staffed by your own people, they don't have the tools necessary to properly take care of you. And because these areas were so big, it was quite possible that the nearest hospital to you was still 15, 20 minutes away. And you would think that this is archaic, it's gone away, especially since we have Fair Housing Act of, I believe, 64, which then allowed black people to buy homes freely in white neighborhoods without fear of being rejected. But by this point, we still couldn't do it. Because now the prices of those homes in white neighborhoods were too high for us to afford. So now we still see, racial divides, even though it's perfectly legal for us to move in those predominantly white neighborhoods. Where's the wealth that we've been denied for centuries? And even gerrymandering, it came out a couple years ago during the Trump administration that he was attempting to redraw districts with the legislator in North Carolina. And after this legislator died, his daughter actually found those documents and she made it visible to the public. And it was noted in the documents that her father said these efforts have to be kept confidential. We can't let anybody know that in 2018, we are still redrawing districts in our favor. I must note that these were Republican legislators still doing this. So they can keep the vote, and so they can remain in office and, of course, keep their money. And these efforts were used in counties in Texas and New York. This is all recent history within the past 3 years. So the effects of redlining are still apparent, but the act of gerrymandering still going on. So nowhere near out of the woods. Still fighting for that equality.
Yes, thank you for that very insightful understanding of gerrymandering and redlining. But it was also hindering our community, and I'm also glad that you brought up, how things are today, right? With what happened with the previous administration and bringing that up.